my name is Victor.
Today we are going to present to you our project. Our project focuses on Robert Burns. Robert Burns was a famous Scottish poet, lyricist, and also a farmer who was born on the 25th of January in 1759 in Ayrshire. But he died on the 21st of July in 1796 in Dublin. His parents are Annis Brown and William Burns. He also married John Turner and had 9 children with her, and then had 3 children with her.
As well as making original composition, he also collected folk songs from across Scotland, often revising or adapting them. His poem and song Old Lang Syne is sung at Ogmanay the last day of the year, and Scots Way served for a long time as an unofficial anthem of the country. Some poems that are still well known today are A Man's a Man for Edat, iPhone Kiss, A Red Rose, To a Mouse, To a Louse, and The Battle of Shiramir. People liked his work because it was humorous and he used small subjects to talk to express big ideas.
He also had a day assigned in his honor. The day called Burns Night is celebrated each year on the 25th of January, today, and on this day, everyone enjoys a hearty Burns night meal, which includes haggis, nibs, and tatties, topped up with a glass of whiskey. There are even some Burns poems and songs recited on this day. The most important thing is still the tributes who are paid to him. Thanks for listening to us.
Good morning, my name is Naomi.
My name is Iman.
And my name is Ayana.
Today we will be talking about the poem addressed to a haggis. First of all, what's a haggis? A haggis is a very famous dish in Scotland. It is mainly made of sheep's liver, lungs, and heart, minced and mixed with soy and oatmeal with seasonings, all stuffed in a sheep's stomach. It is also eaten on the 25th of January, Burns Night, to celebrate the very well-known poet, Robert Burns. This is one of his poems, and it is recited before eating the haggis on Burns Night.
In the first stanza, Burns uses simile as length my arm, or as long as my arm, to describe the size of the haggis. He talks about how it is the best kind of pudding or sausage, the king of sausages. In the second stanza, Burns uses alliteration, mend a mill. He uses this technique along with rhyming to give his poem a lyrical sound and to make it more memorable. He is also talking about the size of the haggis. In the third stanza, Burns talks about how the haggis is being cut up and served. He puts a capital letter to the word labor to put it into our attention and to put emphasis on it. The haggis is so large that it takes great effort or labor to cut it. He also says that the haggis is a glorious sight.
In the fourth stanza, Burns talks about how on the 25th of January, when family and friends gather to eat haggis, the men race to get the biggest part and the slowest one gets the smaller part. He also suggests that after eating the haggis, they are completely full and can't eat another bite. And that the chieftain of the sausage race, which means the one that got the bigger part, is most likely to burst, and he thanks God for not bursting. He uses simile to insist on the fact that they are completely full, comparing the chieftain's belly to a drum skin, saying that because the drum skin is tight. And he uses euphemism to make the fact that one's belly might explode look better than it might be. Then all good men may slack to ride. In the fifth stanza, Robert Burns ridicules and makes fun of French food such as ragout, olio stew, and fricassee, suggesting that olio stew wouldn't fill up your stomach, that fricassee would make her, old Scotland, sick, meaning it would give her nausea. He suggests that haggis is the best food, and he uses alliteration to on sneering scornful, to insist on the fact that no one would reject the opportunity to eat haggis or look down on it.
In the sixth stanza, Robert Burns uses word choices such as his thin legs a good whiplash, oh how unfit, his fist a knot, to make fun of people who eat French dishes. He says that their legs are as thin as the end of whips and that their fists are as small as nuts. As feckless as a withered rash, and it is an example of a simile. In the seventh stanza, Robert Burns uses word choices like trembling earth resound his thread, he'll make it tremble like baps or thistle, to compare people who eat French food and people who eat haggis. He says that men who eat haggis are so sturdy that when they walk, they make the earth tremble, and they would make good use of a blade and could decapitate men as easily as they could cut the top of a thistle. And legs and arm and heads was net is an example of rule of three. In the eighth stanza, Robert Burns uses word choices such as Old Scotland wants no watery stuff, give her a haggis, to say that on the 25th of January, the Scottish would not be happy with watery stuff, which is soup, and would be happy with a haggis. Give her a haggis is an example of personification because Robert Burns uses her to refer to Old Scotland, so he is saying give Old Scotland a haggis, as he did in the fifth stanza, suggesting that French food will make her sick. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, my name is Lorna.
And I'm Emma.
And today we're going to be presenting the poem Up in the Morning Early, which is written by Robert Burns. Robert Burns is a famous Scottish poet, and this poem was written in 1788. It was written because before Burns was a well-known poet, he used to work on the farm with his dad. He explains how he's not a morning person and how he doesn't like waking up in the morning.
We are now going to read you guys the poem. Marina here will be reading the original version, the Scottish version, and stanza by stanza I will be translating it to the modern English we use today.
Cold blows the wind, freight east to west. The drift is driving sadly, say loud and shrills, I hear the blast, I'm sure it's winter fairly.
Cold blows the wind from east to west. The drift is driving surely. So loud and shrill as I hear the blast, I am sure it is winter fairly.
Up in the morning, snow for me, up in the morning early. When the hills are covered with snow, I'm sure it's winter fairly.
Up in the morning's not for me, up in the morning early. When all the hills are covered with snow, I am sure it is winter fairly.
The birds sit shivering in the thorn, a day they fray but spready, and langs the night freight e'en to morn, I'm sure it's winter fairly.
The birds sit shivering in the thorn, all day they fare but sparely, and long as the night from evening to morning, I am sure it is winter fairly.
Up in the morning, snow for me, up in the morning early. When the hills are covered with snow, I'm sure it's winter fairly.
Up in the morning's not for me, up in the morning early. When all the hills are covered with snow, I am sure it is winter fairly. So, in the first stanza, Burns shows imagery, both auditory and virtual. You can imagine the cold wind blowing from east to west, as well as its shrill, which is the high-pitched sound the wind makes. All this to support the theme of it being winter, with the keywords cold, drift, and winter. In the second stanza, he also uses the active imagery to create the lyrical emotion of him not being a morning person and not wanting to wake up. The theme of winter is clearly present in this stanza due to its keywords snow and winter.
In the third stanza, the author describes the birds outside in the wintertime, saying they are cold while using the keyword shivering. He supports the theme of winter by describing the long cold nights that birds experience from evening to morning. The fourth stanza is the same as the second, so he again shows the active imagery to create the lyrical emotion of him not being a morning person. The theme of winter is present as well, thanks to the keywords snow and winter.
To summarize, the idea of getting up early is as bothersome as the idea of facing the winter's cold and snow. We notice in Burns' poem that the line, I'm sure it is winter fairly, is repeated 4 times, which shows the use of repetition. That line being repeated 4 times throughout the poem drums the feeling of dread and pain felt by the writer.
In our opinion, this poem is an artful piece of poetry. It's culturally interesting how Burns uses his native language while its nuances to fit the rhyme scheme. Overall, an easy poem to understand despite the Scottish words. We understand the feeling and emotion behind a regular winter morning.
Thank you for listening.
Hello.
For our project on the Scottish culture, we decided to focus on one of Robert Burns' poems called "My Love Is Like a Red, Red Rose." My name is Shakir.
And my name is Idris. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that is sweetly played in June.
So fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love this till, my dear, till the seas gone dry.
Till the seas gone dry, my dear, and the rocks will melt with the sun, I will love thee, my dear, while the sands of our life shall run.
And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well a while, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles.
Stanza 1. The poem starts with a comparison of his love to a red rose. On the second line of the same stanza, Burns is telling that the flower is going to hatch, as if his love is starting and also new. In the two last lines of the stanza 1, he is explaining that his love is like a sweet melody that is played slowly, and it is supposed to be relaxing. His love is sweet and attention towards the person he is loving.
Stanza 2. The main theme is eternal love, until the seas go dry, which is another way of saying forever. Burns is admiring the person he loves. He is very deeply in love with her. On the two last lines of the same stanza, he wrote that he will love her until the seas go dry, which is an example for saying forever.
Stanza 3. In the two last lines of the same stanza, Robert Burns wrote that even if the sea dries out and the rocks will melt, he explains in the two last lines that he will love her till the death will separate them. His love will last eternity.
Stanza 4. Robert Burns says, "Farewell, my love," which suggests he's telling her goodbye. He tells her that even if he's 10,000 miles away, he will still love her.
Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.